The woods extend along the back of the motel and beyond, curving around on one end to border a field of corn and ending at a side road on the other end, about 100 feet from the opposite end of the motel. I venture a little closer to the edge, squinting into the darkness. I see there is a path of sorts, a narrow, trampled trail of ground extending into the woods, and I wonder where it leads. If it was light out, I might venture in there purely out of curiosity, but for the moment, I can't see a reason to do so. I'm even less inclined when I hear a rustling sound from deep inside the woods, a sound like small, scampering feet scurrying over the ground. Clinching my decision is Hurley's voice hailing me from the motel room doorway. I turn my back on the woods, though not without one last paranoid glance over my shoulder, and hurry back to the motel room door. As we head around to the front side of the motel, Hurley says, "This one looks cut and dried as far as the manners of death, but I still want to talk to some of the witnesses out front." "Maybe," I say, still bothered by that note. I stop walking, and it takes Hurley a few steps to realize it. He turns and looks at me with a confused expression before walking back to me. "What?" he asks, his voice an odd mixture of impatience and curiosity. I'm a little confused as to the motive behind it all. If we assume Craig and Meredith were having an affair, what made Craig take such a drastic step? "Meredith wanted to end things," Hurley says in a tone that makes it sound as if he's explaining the obvious to a simpleton. I give him an annoyed look. If that's the case, then why did she come out here with him tonight? If she was going to cut him loose, I'd think she'd do it somewhere a little less erotic. Hurley scratches his head and shrugs. "Maybe she wanted one last roll in the sack for old time's sake," he says. I can hear the tired irritability in his voice. "Maybe," I say again, unconvinced. "Let's not build this into something it isn't," he says. "Sometimes I think you hang around Arnie too much, because lately it seems like you expect to find a conspiracy in every nook and cranny." He's referring to Arnie Topher, our lab tech and resident conspiracy theorist, a man who thinks space satellites were launched to give the government a way to monitor our every conversation and action, that every tap on our computer keyboards is monitored by some highly classified black ops government employee, and that some of the homeless people out there on the streets are really government spies in disguise. Sometimes I think Arnie has cornered the market on paranoia. But then again, "Just because you're paranoid," I say to Hurley, letting him finish the cliché in his head. He simply rolls his eyes at me, turns, and once again heads toward the front of the motel.